Kentucky basketball just finished up the worst season they've ever had. We finished 9-16 overall and 8-9 in the SEC. You can go back to the year and blame a lot of things. COVID, obviously, roster makeup, or just straight up bad luck. And honestly, it was probably all of the above. This was a perfect storm type of year. Nothing went right, and absolutely everything possible went wrong. This year sucked, and that's the only thing you can say about it.
Bro, I'm straight up not having a good time.
There is one positive, however. Years like this provide us with an opportunity to grow. I believe when you have a bad year or you fail at something, you need to take a step back. Ask yourself, what the hell just happened? Where did things go wrong? And what can we change in the future to not be in this spot again? Now, I decided to use my Master Shibwe advice and take a look at Kentucky basketball as a whole. And after a lot of thought, I think our major flaw is the very thing that brought us success. The one and done system. Now, before all you people that think that we should only recruit Kentucky boys and stick with those guys and develop them over 4 years, and let me just tell you, I am not on your side. If you're on that side, go be a fan of Western Kentucky. They do that every year, and they're not that good. And for people on the other side that are really mad right now, that love the one and done system and love Cal and think he's a genius, I ask you, what does success look like in your eyes? If you think success is having a lot of 5 stars grow and develop over the year and have a lot of fun moments, get those guys at the NBA, and then do it all again next year, then the one and done system is perfect for you. For me personally, success is championships. Plain and simple, that's the goal in college basketball, and that's the goal at Kentucky. And yes, Kentucky is always competing for a title, but we also haven't been to a Final Four since 2015. And for all the talent Cal's brought in, we've only got one championship to show for it. I actually want to look back at the last time we went to the Final Four, 2015. I believe that year is the year that everything started changing for the one and done system. We're going to dive deep into what's happened since then and answer the question, why does the one and done system not work in today's college basketball? We're going to look at the changes in recruiting, the overall style of basketball, and what Cal can change in the future. Let's get into it. The one and done system hasn't just had success at Kentucky. It's happened all over the country. At places like Duke, Washington, hell, even UNLV had an NBA star of their own. There are great freshmen all over the country, and that's a big issue for Kentucky. See, we're not getting the classes we did at first. There's no John Wall and DeMarcus Cousins coming together. Anthony Davis and MKG? No way. I can't even imagine if Cal did what he did in 2013. 5 top 10 recruits? That's unheard of nowadays. And that's because the competition for 5 stars have changed a lot. Instead of them only going to the blue bloods of the nation, they're starting to go elsewhere. And that all changed because in 2015, Ben Simmons chose LSU. What? LSU the year before was only 22-11, and they actually got worse with Ben Simmons. Yet, Simmons still went first overall in the draft and proved that it didn't matter where you went to school, it just mattered about your talent. Recruiting changed completely after that. Instead of Kentucky losing guys to Kansas or Duke, they were now losing to Washington, Georgia, and even Oklahoma State. Kentucky was still getting top classes, but they had a lot less star power. This is where depending on the one and done system can fail you. The reason Cal loves creating 5-star teams is to create a super team of young talent. But if you're not getting all that young talent, it makes it extremely hard to compete for a title. I mean, just imagine some teams before without the star. We kind of saw it in Nerlens Noelia when he got hurt. Without the star player, you have a really bad team. It's going to get harder and harder to keep getting these 5 stars every year. More schools are competing, and even now the G League is offering an option for young stars. Last year, high schoolers Jalen Green and Jonathan Kuminga decided to take their talents to the G League. Both of these guys had offers from Kentucky, and judging by their highlights, they would have been pretty good additions this year. The days of loading up with freshman talent are past us, and Calipari needs to realize this. Other teams have figured this out, and it's time for us to join. In 2015, Ben Simmons changed the game and showed everyone that you don't have to go to a blue blood to be successful in the NBA. He changed recruiting forever in the college basketball world, but he wasn't the only one to change basketball in 2015. Next, we're going to take a look at who changed the game at all levels: the Golden State Warriors. In case you don't know about the Golden State Warriors, I'll give you a brief history lesson. Steph, Clay, Draymond, threes, winning, more threes, more winning, Snake, and even more winning. Basically, they were very good, shot a lot of threes, and did I mention they were good? The Warriors completely changed the way people play basketball. Instead of ISOs and post-ups, they had an offense to focus on movement, spacing, and shooting, and it was beautiful. Teams all over the NBA tried to copy their style. Some even tried to copy their big three, which didn't work out so well. The Warriors changed the way the NBA games were being played. Long mid-range shots were a thing of the past, and the three-pointer had officially taken over. Here's a stat that'll blow you away. The 1979-1980 Houston Rockets took 4.6 threes a game. Fast forward to this year, and the Rockets are nearly averaging 41 threes a game. A little bit of an increase. This is obviously a little bit of a stretch comparing 1980 to 2020, but it just shows how far we've come in the three-point revolution. Nowadays, it's not uncommon for teams to take more threes than twos in a game. If you're not a fan of analytics, I'm sorry, but I'm going to show this chart that I got from a book called Sprawl Ball. Nerd! It's easy to see. You get more bang for your buck with a three. There's absolutely no way you can deny the math. You should shoot more threes. This is a big reason why this pace and space style of basketball is starting to work its way into the college game as well. If you watch Alabama this year, they relied heavily on this system and were very successful and are now one of the top ranked teams in the nation. So this makes you wonder, why hasn't Kentucky adopted this style of play?
Why?
And I think it all goes back to the one and done system we have, and here are a couple reasons why. 1. It's very hard to teach a modern offense to a bunch of kids who just came out of AAU ball where they could easily score on any opponent they wanted. With these young kids, it's a lot more important to teach them teamwork and how to be a leader than worry about offense later. This is why I think Cal's kept with his quote-unquote archaic offense. It's a very simple offense that a team can pick up relatively quickly. The offense typically isn't bad when you have an NBA level creator, but when you don't, you get what you got this year. To be fair, every team's offense would be better with an NBA level point guard, but teams like Villanova don't really need one when they're able to win a championship with guys like Ryan Arcidiacono. 2. We have no shooting. Not only this year, but most every year, Kentucky has struggled with shooting the three. I think this comes back to the one and done system. Typically on the recruiting boards, 5-star guys aren't shooters. And if you look back at recent history at UK, our best shooters, Devin Booker, Tyler Hero, Dante Allen, none of them were 5-stars. Which that kind of makes sense. All of those guys struggle on defense and weren't a complete all-around player when they came to college. But with that being said, recruiting high-profile guys, you typically aren't going to get that many shooters. And for the makeup of a roster, it doesn't really work if you don't have shooters. Instead of just grabbing the best talent possible, Cal needs to plan out his team better. Yes, we need the athletic 5-stars, but if you only have them and no shooters, there's not going to be any space for them to drive, and it becomes very easy to defend us. The 76ers finally learned this lesson. For years, they just took the best talent possible in the draft and built a very good team, with Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid leading it. But they didn't have anyone to space the floor and were very easy to defend and could never get past the second round in the playoffs. Then Daryl Morey came along, and in 2 days, he turned the 76ers into a very dangerous team that could actually compete for a title. All he did was get shooters, which would create space for Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons to work. Pace and space offenses are the future of basketball, and I believe Cal knows it. But the question is, can the one and done system play alongside a modern offense? At this point, you're probably thinking a lot like Michael Scott right now.
It's over. We are screwed.
And to that, I would say,
Right, you ignorant slut.
I don't think we're entirely screwed at all. Yes, our program needs a lot of work, and Cal needs to update his system quite a bit, but we are Kentucky at the end of the day. And Cal is right in saying we are going to eat first. All the other blue bloods struggled this year, so I do think COVID did play a big part. With that being said, I do want to suggest some things that Cal should focus on for the program's future. Yes, the kid who is the 7th man on his church league team and shot about 5% from the field is going to have all the answers.
We are so screwed.
The first thing I'm going to harp on is shooting. Yes, I know I've already talked about this in this video, but come on, how can you watch Dante Allen and not beg Cal to get more shooters? It's so obvious that it helps our team, and it helps his 5-stars that he wants to get to the NBA. It creates a lot more space on the floor, and our offense just looks so much better. Talking about shooters also, Cal has got to be better at dealing with them. We've lost really great shooters to the transfer portal, and that's because Cal doesn't really know how to talk to a shooter or handle one. He depletes their confidence and has a really short leash with them. This doesn't help the shooters at all, and they're going to end up transferring if they don't feel comfortable around the coach or just get yelled at every time they miss a shot. They're going to miss. You just got to let them fight through it. I know it can be frustrating when they miss, and they don't really offer a lot if they're not making shots, but we have to keep shooters on the roster, and it all comes back to Coach Cal's patience with them. The next thing Cal should do is recruit more veterans. Planning ahead and getting about 1 to 2 players each class that'll stay for 3, maybe 4 years would be very beneficial. Not only would you ensure you'll have a player returning each year so they can help teach the younger guys, but you can give the fans someone they can truly love and get behind. Every fan loved Jorts, DeAndre Liggins, Derek Willis, and Dominique Hawkins. Those guys stayed for a long time, and we really got behind them and saw them grow as players. A lot of fans are feeling disconnected from the program as a whole with the one and done system. It's nice to have a lot of NBA talent come into the program, but I do agree it does get tiring to have a brand new team every year. It would be nice to have some returning faces. My last key for Cal is the transfer portal. Now we all know Cal loves his grad transfers, but I actually see them as a lot like one and dones. They only stay for 1 year, and they're on a learning curve a lot like the freshmen are. I think the key to the transfer portal is with guys like Jacob Toppin. Sophomores who had a great freshman year, but still have a couple years left until they go to the league. Those could easily be your veterans that you could keep on the team for a few years. They'd have great potential, the fans would fall in love with them, and they could truly be an impact player later on down the line. I mean, who's not excited to see Jacob Toppin in a couple years? He could truly develop into an Obi Toppin. That's his brother, if you didn't know that. The college basketball world is changing, and it's time we start changing as well. I just hope Cal decides to change with it. Leave a comment, let me know your thoughts. Peace.